My wife is upset that I helped my sister out during an emergency because she refused to babysit for us once. Now she is demanding that I cut my sister off completely. My wife and I have a 6-month-old baby, and he is the light of our lives. Before our son was born, however, my sister made it known that she was not a baby person. I've known of this nearly our whole lives, and my wife even knew, but I'm starting to wonder if she didn't quite take it seriously. Sister came to our baby shower, where she, again, made it known that while she was happy for us, she wouldn't have much to do with the kid until at least they were older. I remember my wife making a comment along the lines of, "Aw, he's going to love his auntie," and, "You'll love him when he gets here," or something like that. My sister just laughed it off, but I saw the irritation in her eyes. I talked to my wife that night and told her that my sister was serious. I know her, and she really doesn't like babies or small children, and that we shouldn't try to force her to interact much with our little one until she's ready. We had a bit of back and forth, but the convo basically ended with wife saying that, "Okay, of course we won't force her." Fast forward a few months, our baby boy is here. Sis showed up at the hospital and brought us a balloon and to show support, but she didn't really interact or look at our newborn much, and left quickly. My wife was too distracted with doting and loving on our son to really notice. Fast forward a few months to about a month ago, when our son was 5 months old, I had planned a nice dinner date for the two of us at a very exclusive restaurant, a place she's always wanted to go to, and is always booked out. I surprised her with a reservation that I had booked a few months in advance around her birthday. I thought it would be good for both of us to have a night out and take a quick breather from parenthood, and to reconnect as a couple. She was very excited for it, so was I. But a few hours before our reservation, our babysitter canceled. Wife frantically suggested we call my sister. Our parents are both aged and not able to move around a lot. I knew that sis was going to say no, but wife was very insistent. I tried calling a few friends first, but everyone was busy or couldn't since it was very last minute. Finally, after my wife insisting some more, I called my sister. I told her what was going on, and of course I was right about her answer. She said she was sorry, but she didn't want to. I told my wife this. My wife asked me if I could put her on speakerphone. I was hesitant. After I put her on speakerphone, she shouted loudly into the phone, "Why won't you come watch your nephew?" My sister was silent for a moment. She said she wasn't comfortable. My wife said, "Why not? He's your nephew?" At this point I took her off the speakerphone, and told my sister I'd call her back. My wife was hysterical in tears. We didn't end up making the reservation. I tried to comfort her by telling her that we could still do something that weekend for her birthday, and I'd reschedule the reservation for whenever they were next available. But she wasn't in a good mood for a few days after this occurred, and I knew at that point that she really disliked sister. Yesterday was the day that everything went south. I got a call from sister saying that she needed me to come take her to the hospital. She was having an emergency and she lives less than 10 minutes away. This was about at 11 p.m. Baby and wife were asleep. I texted wife where I was going before I left in case she woke up, and left. Everything went well, sister is okay, but we didn't get out of hospital until around 6 a.m. When I got home this morning, my wife at first didn't say a thing to me. I asked her if she got my messages throughout the night, and if she was alright. She didn't speak. I went into the office to work. Yes, I work on Sundays, and about 10 minutes later, she barged in the room and started yelling. She told me that it's insane that I left her in the middle of the night to go help someone that doesn't want to help us. She said that if it was that big of an emergency, she should have just called the ambulance, and I should have woke her up to tell her first. We went back and forth for a bit, but in the end she told me that if I don't cut sister off, she doesn't know what will happen to our relationship, and I need to prioritize our family. I know she is still upset about what happened last month, but to completely cut off my sister? I don't think that's at all an appropriate thing to do. All she did was assert her boundaries, though I won't lie, I was hurt and a bit frustrated when we lost our reservation, but I got over it because I've known that sister wouldn't want much to do with the baby for a while. I love my wife and family more than anything. But my sister is also one of my loved family members. She has shown up, in a way, to the baby shower and the birth. Other than when caring for the baby, wife and I haven't spoken much today, but I don't want to continue things like this. I don't know how to approach this situation. She's still dealing with postpartum hormones, so I understand she may still be feeling on edge and protective of the baby. But I feel like we should address this sooner than later. I just want to in a delicate, compass way towards both of them. TLDR. Wife gave me an ultimatum of cutting off sister due to me helping her out in a situation when she refused to help us out. I don't think this is an appropriate response, but I am sensitive to wife's protectiveness / still touchy postpartum state. How do I approach this with her?
My sister's pregnant friend acted like she owned the place, so we threw hands. Now she's crying because I could have hurt the baby. Ida, I have a dog. She's my world. I love her like a child. That dog is my best friend. Unfortunately, she lives with my mother and sister, not me. My sister brought a girlfriend over who was 4.5 months pregnant. The friend spent all evening complaining about my dog. That there was hair everywhere, that she was whining, etc. I said she could leave if she wanted. The dog lives here and she doesn't. My sister said, neither do you, OP. I said, no, but my dog does. I was raised in this house. This is my mother's house. I have more right to be here than her. Then the friend started teasing my dog, pretending to give her food and moving it out of her reach. I told her to stop and she wouldn't. Finally my dog had enough. Jumped up, put her paws on her lap, and took the food out of her hands. She kicked my dog. So without thinking, I kicked her. She yelled and said she was pregnant and I could have unalived her baby, whatever. I said you could have unalived mine. But anyway, Ida? My future sister-in-law got offended when I refused to wear the wedding dress that she picked out for me. My fiancé and his family are call me an a-hole. I, F27, met my fiancé Jacob, M31, when I was 21. We've been together for 6 years and engaged for almost a year out of those. My mother's wedding dress has been passed down for generations and I remember being a little girl dreaming of walking down the aisle in it. We have recently been wedding planning and we were invited to a dinner hosted by my fiancé's family that was on Sunday. When we arrived, we greeted everyone and sat at the table to eat. Sil stood up and tapped her spoon against her glass and said that she had to make a toast. She then said she would be right back before going into another room and returning with a large plastic bag. Everyone seemed to be excited, but I just felt confused. I awkwardly smiled as I asked Sil what was inside the bag. She opened it up to reveal her wedding dress from her wedding, which was 2 years ago. Everyone began clapping as Sil announced that this was her official wedding gift to us and she wanted me to wear her dress at the wedding. I tried to smile, but I guess I didn't do a good job of hiding my disappointment and everyone began asking me what was wrong. I tried to explain how I wanted to wear my mother's dress and that it was nothing personal, but that I refused to wear my Sil's dress. My Sil began crying as my in-laws began tearing into me and comforting her. I just burst into tears and ran outside. My fiancé didn't even come after me, and after crying my eyes out on the steps for what felt like hours, he finally came outside and yelled at me to get into the car. I was so confused, but I got into the car just to hear him berate me on how I had made such a big scene and embarrassed him in front of his family. He sounded so mad and he even said he couldn't believe he chose to marry such ABC, his exact words. My fiancé also said how Sil was just trying to be nice and that her dress was more modern compared to my mother's dress, which looked like an old rag, also his exact words. I tried to tell him how much my mother's wedding dress meant to me because I promised her that I would wear it. I felt like my fiancé's family planned this and put me on the spot, thinking I wouldn't stand up for myself and just agree to wear Sil's dress. I don't think I did anything wrong, but a part of me thinks I should have just gone along with it and then told Sil in private that I wouldn't be wearing the dress. Ida?
My mother-in-law got upset at me for giving her another granddaughter instead of a grandson, so I put her in her place. Now my wife wants me to apologize. Ida, my wife, F33, and I am 34, have 2 beautiful daughters. We're currently expecting, and recently found out the gender of the baby. It's a girl. Again. No biggie, I love girls and I'm beyond happy and thrilled. We visited my in-laws to make the announcement after dinner. We were all seated at the table when my wife announced the gender of the baby. My mother-in-law looked disappointed and didn't even try to hide it. That's fine, gender disappointment or whatever they call it is fine. People are entitled to feelings, you can't control that, right? However, she gave me a look then flat out said, "A girl? Again. Something seems off here." Turns to me, "You know that men are responsible for the gender of the baby, right?" I replied with, "So? You think I must be doing something wrong or something?" She responded, "No, but I'm just being honest here." I responded with, "It's fine really, they're kids, why would their gender matter? I don't plan on inbreeding them." Suddenly everyone started laughing and Mill went completely quiet. She excused herself to the bathroom and stayed there for a while. Dinner got awkward, like really awkward, and we had to go home. My wife started getting angry calls from her mom about me embarrassing and humiliating her with the stupid joke I made at the dinner table. She said I disrespected her in her own home. I told my wife that her mom was blatantly trying to blame me. My wife said that technically her mom was right and that men are responsible for the gender of the baby. I said, so what, we learned this at school, why bring it up? My wife suggested I apologize to her mom and she'll talk to her, but I refused. Ida,